All right, you guys, sometimes I have to admit when I'm wrong, and I was very wrong in what I said about the interview on the pivot with Simone Biles and her husband, Jonathan Owens. I was wrong. I was watching some YouTubers who were really laying in on him for saying that she chased him, and YouTubers saying a woman shouldn't chase a man. But I just listened to another one, and she's absolutely right because I did catch on that these men that were doing the interview were very disrespectful to Jonathan Owens and Simone Biles, and they were like baiting them and trying to put him down. I did catch on to that, but I didn't really go with it. And also that Jonathan Owens in the interview was extremely vulnerable and admitted, he was a late bloomer. He went to the school that no one had heard of. He'd always battled, with his confidence and wanting to be recognized. Like, he was so honest and so authentic. And I got totally taken out by the people who made fun of him for that, including these YouTubers that I reference in the description of that other video, which I'll put up here. The truth of it is that the truth of it is they should have never done that interview, because there are so many people where you go on their channel to be interviewed and their whole point is to put you down to make themselves look better. The men on the pivot, we have 3 former football players. I don't follow football. I think they're former football players. Ryan Clark, age 44. Fred Taylor, age 47, and Channing Crowder, age 40. You've got these 3 men who are experienced, accomplished athletes who should be mentors to this younger man, Jonathan Owens. But they're not mentors. They are there to cut him down, to make themselves look better, because they're bottom bitches. I'm so mad at them. It's kind of like the losers on Fresh and Fit. And they get an ego boost out of putting other people down. Beta males. Weak-ass men. I have done interviews on my channel. I've interviewed people. When I interview someone, my goal is to glorify my guest. Let them speak, let them shine, let them share their knowledge, and leave them feeling good about the interview. They're the guest of honor. When someone comes into your home or is a guest on your show, they are a guest of honor and they should be treated with respect. And what I'm very, very sensitive to are hosts who interrupt a lot. And I'm thinking about, like, the guys on Fresh and Fit. I just get too irritated. I can't even watch that. Or certain Sean Hannity or Piers Morgan, like these kind of argumentative types. Those are obvious to me, and I don't like that because it's very obvious they're interrupting and they're rude and they don't want to listen. Jordan Peterson is the same way, he interrupts. So I don't like those guys like that. But these guys on the pivot were a little bit more smooth and slick because they did something that I'm not used to seeing, which is very manipulative and slimy. So they don't interrupt, but they punk you and they give you leading questions and they make fun of you. And so we have Simone Biles and Jonathan Owens, a young married couple in their 20s, coming on the show. And you have these men that are supposed to be mentors just cutting him down. He's so vulnerable. And then finally, to save face, he finally digs himself into a corner, kind of saying that she chased him and he was the catch, but they egged him into that position. When the couple first came in for the interview, I found it very odd that one of the interviewers greeted Jonathan Owens and said, "Hey, light-skinned." Like, why would you say, "Hey, light-skinned"? And I didn't know it was a thing in the African American community that people judge each other based on how dark or light their skin is. But why would you greet someone in such a racist way? That, and then totally poke fun at him. And, Jonathan Owens came out from the beginning admitting, he went to school no one had heard of, and it was a great honor when the Kansas Chiefs, I believe, came to practice at his school, and that he cleaned up after them like he was doing janitor work for them, which is exactly what you're supposed to do when you're starting out. You're supposed to start at the bottom. No job is too bad for you. And he was admitting all this. He was not coming in all high and mighty. And these guys kept cutting him down and cutting him down. We never heard of this school. And then Jonathan Owens said, well, I was kind of a late bloomer. And the other guys goes, I was picked in the 9th, like trying to one up their guest. They are a bunch of lowlifes. And the lady I was listening to this morning, her channel is called Married 10 Years. So I'm going to play a clip now where she talks about how she was so disappointed in these 3 supposed elders. So let's listen to that.
And some of the people who I'm really most ashamed at were these grown-ass 3 men up here who've all been married, who all got wives, and I'm ashamed at the way and how they handled this situation between these 2 young people.
Okay, and then now she's going to go into one example of how they laid a trap for Jonathan Owens, where they just put words in his mouth, and they go, oh, so you didn't really want Simone Biles, did you? That's what they said to their guest in front of the wife. He never even said that. They're trying to put words in his mouth. And then Jonathan Owens comes back and says, no, I never said that. These are just evil guys. Let's listen to this part of the interview.
The elder of the group. What is the elder group of the dude? He goes back and he gets his shovel and he says, let me dig a deeper ditch for you, Jonathan Owens, to fall into. I'm not going to help save you. I'm going to not help coach you. I'm not going to help counsel you. I'm not going to do none of that on this interview. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go get a shovel and I'm going to dig a deeper ditch. And what Jonathan Clark then says to him, what he says is, oh, so you didn't really want Simone Biles. And now everybody's laughing in the room. Everybody's clowning Jonathan Owens. And these men knew what they were doing to him. And when Jonathan Clark sat there and said, well, you didn't really want Simone Biles, Jonathan Owens said, no, I wouldn't say that. He said, I wouldn't say that. And they were still laughing at him. And they were laughing over him. He said.
So the bottom line really is that the bad people in this were the interviewers, the guys on the pivot. They really embarrassed themselves, and they're trash, in my opinion. I'm very upset with them for playing this prank on this young couple that they had invited onto their show. And I think that people have to be very careful when they go onto shows to be interviewed, because it's really easy for the host to make you look really bad. Not just because they can splice the interview and take out certain words or splice it and edit it in a certain way, but they can also come at you trying to make you look bad. And, in an effort to glorify themselves. And I think these guys were jealous that Jonathan Owens had Simone Biles and their wives are not that extraordinary. So in order to make themselves feel better, they had to cut him down. It's very low vibrational behavior on the part of these men. And again, I will put the link of the video in the description. The woman who has married 10 years, again, an African-American woman. Somehow white people don't feel like they are allowed to speak on African-American things. And the black people come after me. They're like, how dare you speak on our culture? Well, fuck you. You're people. We're all people, okay? We're all people. I'm speaking on people. And by the way, the Black community does have a lot more to live up to, because that's where you see one guy having 20 babies with a bunch of different women. It's the African American community, and these women need to not open their vaginas to every random guy without a condom. So the African American community definitely needs a lot of help, and that's why these mentors, these Black African American men who are accomplished, should be using their privilege to mentor other people, to be mentors, not to tear down another Black man. Very, very upsetting, I find, you know. Use your privilege to help other people and lift them up, not when they come on your show to tear them down. So I stand corrected. I was wrong, and I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. So thanks for watching my video.